All glories to Sri Prabhupada. So we have decided to make an experiment and go live for the recitation of this Ekādaśī. Last Ekādaśī, what happened is that I could not actually upload on time because of the internet here in China. So as I was trying to upload, it actually took almost 6 hours in order to upload the Ekādaśī story. So I uploaded very late at night. So we decided to try it live this time, and the live recording will be there on my YouTube channel afterwards. So this is a first. So let us try together. So here is the narration of Ajā Ekādaśī, also known as Annada Ekādaśī. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading Ajā Ekādaśī, also known as Annada Ekādaśī, also known as Bhadrapada Krishna Ekādaśī, from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Yudhishthir Maharaj said, O Janardana, protector of all living entities, please tell me the name of the Ekādaśī that occurs during the dark fortnight of the month of Bhadrapada, August-September. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna then replied, O King, listen to me attentively. The name of this sin-removing sacred Ekādaśī is Ajā. Any person who fasts completely on this day and worships Rishikesha, the master of the senses, becomes free of all reactions to his sins. Even one who simply hears about this Ekādaśī is freed from his past sins. This is why actually we have started this Ekādaśī story mini-series, is that simply by hearing those narration, those very powerful Krishna Katha, we come in contact with the Supreme Lord, and thus our sins are removed. And the Lord chooses, and the Lord makes the laws. So he chooses what is very purifying, what is less purifying, etc. So here he says that one who listens to this story with faith, his sins are removed. So when we hear Krishna Katha, we must surrender ourselves. We should beat the rascal mind with a shoe, because sometimes when we hear Krishna Katha, we tend to have doubts. And that is not the way to hear Krishna Katha. Hearing Krishna Katha should be in full surrender, with complete knowledge that we are conditioned soul, and that whatever our mind is saying is an illusion of the three modes of material nature. But these stories of the Supreme Lord are transcendental to all of this. The pastimes of the Lord, the holy name of the Lord, his qualities, his beauty, his name, his fame, everything is transcendental. It is another dimension, the spiritual dimension. It is the actual truth. So this is with this kind of mood that we have to hear such story. So, even one who simply hears about this Ekādaśī is freed from his past sins. O King, there is no better day than this in all the earthly and heavenly worlds. This is true without a doubt. There once lived a famous king named Harishchandra, who was the emperor of the world and a person of great truth and integrity. His wife's name was Lohitashva. By the force of destiny, however, Harishchandra lost his great kingdom and sold his wife and son. The pious king himself became a menial servant of a dog-eater, who made him guard a crematorium. Yet even while doing such a menial service, he did not forsake his truthfulness and good character. Just as somarasa, even when mixed with some other liquid, does not lose its ability to bestow immortality. Okay, very nice intro of this story. So Harishchandra, just see, another emperor of the entire earth. So what we know today as earth is a very crippled idea of what we actually are living on. According to Vedic astrology, earth is much, much larger than what we are being so-called taught in those modern schools. There is many tracts of lands that we have no access to. In fact, when Arjuna had to go and get all the kings of the earth to surrender to Maharaj Yudhishthira before his elder brother was to perform the Rajasuya Yajna, which means that he became the emperor of the world after this sacrifice. So he sent Arjuna to the north, he sent Bhima, I believe, to the south, and Nakula Sahadev in two other directions. So it is described there that at one point, Arjuna crossed the Himalayas, then he crossed a great desert, then he arrived at a tract of land, which was called Harivamsa, if my memory is proper. And in that tract of land, there were beings that they told Arjuna, we accept the ruling of Maharaj Yudhishthir. You don't have to come into our land. Anyway, even if you come, you will not be able to see us. So such beings are here. And Arjuna walked. He had horses, an army and all. My meaning is that he was on land going there. So there are many, many places that we do not discover. So when one is the king of the entire earth, when we hear this in Vedic literature, it is much more than the seven which we are aware of now. There is much more to it. So this king here, Harishchandra, was the emperor of the entire world. And just see how destiny is all powerful. When one is bound up by the laws of karma, it is said that he's just like a bull who is being hooked by the nose and pulled around. This is a fact. We cannot counteract our karma. Only Krishna can. That's why he says, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja. And then he says, Ahadvam sarva papebhyo mokshaishyami ma shuchata. So he can change the destiny. We cannot. When one is fastened by the laws of destiny, he is driven. He cannot counteract anything. It doesn't matter how rich, how powerful, anything. So here is a very good example. The king of the entire earth, just imagine. The entire earth. And he became, he had to sell his wife and son. Now, the actual situation under which this took place is not narrated. But we can know that such thing did happen. Maharaj Yudhishthira himself gambled away his brothers and wife. So just see. So he was he was very pious, but still he had to become the menial servant of a dog eater, a mlecha. So more than mlecha, lower than mlecha actually, chandala, sorry. So, and he had to be a guard of a crematorium. A crematorium is considered one of the most disgusting places because this is where we burn bodies. And the king of the entire earth fell down from his exalted position and had to take this menial post. And here the comparison is made to somarasa. Somarasa is a drink that is enjoyed in the heavenly planets, which has nothing to do with the kind of drinks in the mode of ignorance found on this planet, alcohol and all this brandy and stuff. Somarasa is the drink that the demigods enjoy. And here it is said that when you drink, you mix somarasa with another liquid, it does not lose its ability to bestow immortality. Of course, this immortality is simply a word to fit the fact that we cannot realize how long it is. Because if I'm telling you, can you realize what 100,000 years is? We cannot. We have problem understanding how long is 100 years. See? So, okay, so the king fell down from his position as the emperor of the world. He sold his wife and son, and he became the menial servant of a dog eater, guarding a crematorium. Let's continue the story. The king passed many years in this condition. Then one day he sadly thought, what shall I do? Where shall I go? How can I be delivered from this plight? In this way, he drowned in an ocean of anxiety and sorrow. Just imagine. It is said that just like when you eat something very sweet, a nice gulab jamun or rasgulla, and right after you take some very bitter medicine, it is extremely bitter. How can someone tolerate to have such an opulence as being the king of the entire world and then be reduced to such a lamentable condition? So he's thinking, how would I come out of this plight? One day a great sage happened by, and when the king saw him, he happily thought, "Ah, Lord Brahma has created Brahmanas just to help others." Harishchandra paid his respectful obeisances to the sage, whose name was Gautama Muni. With joined palms, the king stood before Gautama Muni and narrated his pitiful story. Gautama Muni was astonished to hear the king's tale of woe. He thought, "How has this mighty king been reduced to collecting clothes from the dead?" Gautama Muni became very much compassionate toward Harishchandra and instructed him on the process of fasting for purification. So there's a very beautiful verse that Lord Krishna speaks that I wish to purify the entire world with the dust of the lotus feet of my devotee. Actually, this is the only gateway out of this material world. It is the pure devotee of the Lord. They wander about the earth, all these saintly persons, with the only aim to deliver us. Just see how Srila Prabhupada left India and he came, and what happened? Thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of devotees will be made because of him, because he's still there through his books. You see, just see the power. So the Lord uses his pure devotee, he sends them also, especially the Nitya Siddha devotee, like Prahlad Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, all the acharyas in sampradayas, most of them are Nitya Siddhas. They are definitely all Paramahamsa, Mahabhagavata of the highest order, and most of them are coming from the spiritual world. So such great personalities' only business is to reclaim the fallen souls, and they wander about with that only purpose. So here we see that Gautama Muni was astonished to see the king, that how is it that this king was the emperor of the entire earth and now he's collecting clothes from dead bodies? How did this happen? So the Vaishnavas are paradukha dukhi. They are by nature very merciful. They cannot tolerate to see the suffering of humanity. And everybody is suffering. It's not that the rich are comfortable and the poor are not. No, the rich will also die. They're also within the claws of death. So everybody's actually suffering. But when one is suffering immediately, we see the actual suffering in front of us, then it is simply natural to feel compassionate towards such poor living entity. So it's not that the devotee should think that, oh, someone is suffering materially here, that's not very important, we should simply help spiritually. No, material help also can be given, but alongside with spiritual help. Not that simply we save the clothes from the drowning man and we let the man drown. It's not like this. Both, you see. So material help also, when we see someone, who is suffering, we can try to help. There was once next to a temple that Prabhupada had opened, there was a great fire that took place. And many women were stuck on the 3rd floor, I believe. So some of the devotees, they came out from the temple and they took these big blanket and they asked all the women to jump. And they all jumped one by one, and the last woman was actually pregnant. And she hesitated for quite some time, and finally she jumped. And while they were holding, actually the blanket broke for her, but hopefully, the pregnant woman was okay. She was uninjured, and the baby also was uninjured. And when Prabhupada heard of this, he was very, very happy. So they did not distribute prasadam, is it? They did not go out Sankirtan, they did not distribute books, but still Prabhupada was pleased. Because, first of all, to help any living entity, even if he's in a material distress, that is good. Another thing is that because the devotees have helped, naturally all these fortunate souls who got helped, they will offer their respect to the devotees, and that will be good for them. Not only that, the devotees will be spoken of. They were actually spoken of in the news, in the newspaper. And that is good also, Hare Krishna devotee. So any way that someone comes in contact with a devotee is auspicious. So if we help others, even if it's on a material platform, alongside with spiritual, then there's no harm in this. Sometimes, neophyte devotees, they will think that, someone is suffering there, who cares? anyway, it's his karma, right? Yeah, karma. Isn't this enough that they are eternally conditioned? Isn't this enough that everybody in this material world will remain here eternally? That's not punishment. Is it not enough of a punishment? My meaning is this, is that if you say this is his karma, he deserves it. Yes, that's all right, but he's here forever. Isn't that enough of a punishment? So the whole point is to wake up these rascals that stop staying here. Stop suffering from your karma. That is devotee. Not that, oh, it's his own karma. Just like some poor children, we heard so many stories nowadays that in our gurukulas, and the gurukulas that Srila Prabhupada started, so many children got molested. So many children got, some very sad treatment. And some so-called devotees said, well, it's their karma. So-called devotees spoke like that. So that is not devotee. Devotee cannot tolerate to see other people suffer. Cannot tolerate. What to speak of saying it's their karma and being so heartless. So here we have this great soul, Gautama Muni, who took great compassion upon Harishchandra. So thus he started to instruct him about the process of fasting for purification. So let's continue. Gautama Muni said, O king, during the dark fortnight of the month of Bhadrapada, there occurs an especially meritorious Ekādaśī named Aja, which removes all sins. Indeed, this Ekādaśī is so auspicious that if you simply fast on that day and perform no other austerity, all your sins will be nullified. By your good fortune, it is coming in just 7 days. So I urge you to fast on this day and remain awake through the night. If you do so, all the reactions of your past sins will come to an end. O Harishchandra, I have come here because of your past pious deeds. Now, all good fortune to you in the future. So saying, the great sage Sri Gautama Muni immediately disappeared from his vision. Many important points in this short paragraph. One thing is this, fasting. If you simply fast, so fasting on Ekādaśī is very, very meritorious. Very meritorious. We should try to fast. Nirjal fast is the best. I have not come to this point yet. I'm very skinny, I'm afraid that if I fast too much, twice a month, I might lose even more weight. But His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu, Temple President and Senior Mentor of ISKM in Singapore, he does Nirjala Ekādaśī, every Ekādaśī. Not only that, on normal days, he eats only one meal a day in the evening. So it's pretty much like a fasting every day for him. But on that special Ekādaśī day, he doesn't even take that meal. That means what? That means from the evening of, let's say, what day is it today? It's a Friday. Evening yesterday, Thursday, he fasts whole Friday, and then Saturday whole day, and then evening. Just see how many hours, you calculate. This is almost 48 or 40, something like that. So, very, very meritorious, and we should try to learn to boil down, especially those who have extra fat, extra bodily fat. Because what does it mean that we gain weight? Gaining weight means that the belly is being given more food than needed, more food than it can digest. So that means overindulgence. It is not necessary. So that's why in Vedic literature, just like in Ayurveda, it is said you should not eat after the sunset, because the fire, the Agni in the stomach is not very powerful, and there's regular fasting days. Srila Bhaktivedanta Sarasvati was very strict with his overweight disciple. He said it. He said, if you're fat, you're not making spiritual advancement. If you're overweight, so these kind of days are very good to reduce the bodily fat. Me, of course, I would become a skeleton, I believe. But still, I can feel also. I'm sure all of you who have fasted, just like Janmashtami was not long ago, most of you must have fasted. So you can feel how it's boiling down the material aspect of our consciousness. When you do not care so much from the body, then you start to be able to discern what is spirit and what is matter. It helps to realize what is the actual soul in the body. What are we, as opposed to the matter, this body which we are being captivated upon. So it's very powerful. And not only this, it's on an auspicious day and it pleases the Lord. That is the important thing. Because after all, conditioning and liberation is under the Lord's control. So therefore, He's the doer here. And our only business is to please Him. So Krishna says Ekādaśī is auspicious. He likes this day. He likes that we fast on this day. That's it. There's no more why. Why Krishna is it? No why. Krishna says like this and that is like that. That's all. Just like, for example, you cannot, when you reach the absolute truth, there's no more why. Just like my son now these days, he's in his why period, Why, always asking why. So every time he does that, I bring everything to Krishna. For example, it's getting dark. Why? Well, because the sun is going away from our view, so the rays are not reaching us. Why? Well, because the sun god is driving the sun away. This is how the Lord has arranged. Why? Well, because Krishna has created day and night. That's it. So I bring everything to Krishna because Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the cause of all causes. So therefore, if you ask why enough, you come back to Krishna. So that's it. When we come to Krishna, there's no more why. So Krishna likes that we fast on Ekādaśī. We should try our best, or at least eat Ekādaśī food. And that's what Prabhupada said. Ekādaśī food means fruits, milk, yogurt in this way, nuts. There's no cooking basically involved. It's very fast, and there's more time for Hari Bhajan, to read more, chant more, do more deity worship, better deity worship, etc. So that is the one point, very important point. Every time I'm trying to stress in these Ekādaśī stories to fast. Now here, another important point in this paragraph is that he says that by your good fortune, it is coming in just 7 days. So it is nice to be informed of the merit of an Ekādaśī before the Ekādaśī actually arrives. And look at me who's giving this Ekādaśī live stream on the Ekādaśī day. Actually, I should have done it yesterday, but the service was so intense on Janmashtami and post Janmashtami that I'm trying to get back on my feet, and I will try my best from next Ekādaśī to only upload the day prior to Ekādaśī so that everybody can have the chance to listen to the story before, because it's very encouraging. If you hear of the story, you hear of the nice merit, you hear how some persons were so much in worse condition than we are, and how this Ekādaśī saved them, just like this poor Harishchandra. Okay. So another important point in this paragraph is that he says, okay, I fast on this day and remain awake through the night. In many Ekādaśī story, we always hear this, remain awake through the night. So I do not know how it is practical for you to do so, but there's certainly something very powerful in doing this, because practically each Ekādaśī story that we're reading, for those of you who've maybe listened to some others, there is this thing here that says that if you remain awake through the night and chant, So if you're thinking on how can you improve your spiritual life, even though you're alone, you might be somewhere where there's no temple or something, and you have this determination that let me try to stay awake through the night and chant Hare Krishna, or read more, then you could try it. That definitely the Lord has put this in those Puranas for us to hear. Definitely it is authorized and very much powerful. Okay, another important point is, I have come here because of your past pious deeds. So here, Gautama Muni is telling to Harishchandra that he came here because of his past pious deeds. So it is not by chance that one comes in contact with a great soul, a saintly person, or a devotee, we can say. It is due to past pious activities. There are 3 sorts of pious activities. One type of pious activities will bring one material wealth, beauty, knowledge, or intelligence, and birth in good family. These are the 4 result of pious activities. This actually is not real piety, because these 4 things are not really wanted if one desires to advance spiritually. In the beginning, these 4 things will be impediment. Of course, when one is a very great advanced devotee, these 4 things can be purified and engage in the Lord's service. But generally, if one is very beautiful, he becomes very proud, or such, so handsome, others have ugly features, and thus he becomes absorbed in the bodily concept that I'm this body, and this is the complete opposite of what spiritual life is. If one is very wealthy, well, wealth, you always think of what to buy. Who has $100,000 and doesn't think, what can I buy with this? As soon as you get a certain amount of money, what can I buy? And you want to spend it. Greediness, mode of ignorance. And you don't get satisfied. You want more. You become implicated. Therefore, Brahmana must remain poor, voluntarily poor. No accumulation of money in the bank, income, whatever the Lord brings. And his only business is to be engaged in propagating this Krishna consciousness, this Vedic wisdom. So you shake off all this impediment of spiritual advancement, because money is very contaminating. Kali is inside money. So if someone is doing business or something, he must give to the temple. He must give to the devotee. In this way, he will not become entangled. If he simply accumulates, then that is very dangerous, because Kali is inside. Kali has entered money, gold. Therefore, it is very contaminating. And then birth, very intelligent. Again, another source of pride. Man, I'm so sharp. I know so many things. This science, all these things. I've read so many books. I've studied. I know. They're just like all these so-called scientists. They are so puffed up. They think they know. They don't even know why they're forced to be born and why they're forced to die, and they think that they know. They puff up their chest until it bursts. Where's Einstein now? Where's Stephen Hawking? That Stephen Hawking, the one on the chair who could not even use his body. He tried his whole life to prove that there's no need of God for creation. I've read some of his books before I was a devotee. And yes, the only thing he's trying to prove is that there's no need of a creator. There's no controller. He himself is one of the most controlled person on the planet. He cannot even use his own body. And he's saying there's no controller. Just see how Maya works. So very dangerous to be very smart. Prabhupada said to be intelligent is good. To be too intelligent is not good. Meaning too intelligent, you think you know best. There's no humility. You cannot surrender. Now I know why. Why should I surrender to this guru? What does he know, this guru? So that is dangerous to be too smart. And the birth in a great family, if you take birth in a famous family or something, then again, the ego puffed up. I have a great birth, just like these brahmanas in India. Simply by birth in a brahmana family, they think they're brahmanas and they think they're superior to all the other castes. Simply by birth, that is dangerous. Although we know that brahmana means by quality and work. So, one type of pious activity will get you these 4 things, okay? So wealth, beauty, intelligence, and high family. So that is one type. Another type of pious activities will help you to attain moksha, liberation. So that means merging into the effulgence of the Lord. So these 2 types of pious activities are actually not true piety, because they are not wanted. We have given the examples already of the first type. We see that people who are very handsome or whatever, they fall down. My meaning by falling down is that they commit so much sinful activities that they will be dragged to hell. And the second type, merging into the Brahman effulgence. Who wants that? Some people do want that, but devotees think that this is very horrible. We want to continue our service. We want to associate with the Supreme Lord. We want to be part of these pastimes of the Lord. Here and behind all. We want to be living with God. We can do this. There is such a world where you live with God, face to face with Him. You associate with Him. You speak with Him. You laugh with Him. You play with Him. God is your friend. God is your son. God is your husband. This is reality, not this COVID-19 infested world and vaccine, this mess that we are in. Isn't it a beautiful place? Do you want to remain here? Anyway, you cannot remain even if we want to. We cannot. So it is illusory. It is a dream. Just like a dream doesn't last. Similarly, this won't last. I'm talking to you. You're hearing now. Where are we in 100 years? Where are we? Who knows? This is illusion. There's a reality. There's a real world. And Brahman is simply the light coming out of that reality. It is not the actual reality itself. It is the light coming out. Just like if you see a movie, the movie itself is something, but the light emanating from the movie is something else. Now, if I'm telling you, let's watch a movie, and you're watching the movie, and some nonsense guy just look at the light on the wall and thinks, oh, this is great, what is this? This is lack of intelligence. So therefore, real life is on the spiritual planet, Vaikuntha Loka, Krishna Loka. This is where we have to go. So these two types of pious activity, one that gives you material wealth and whatever material benefit, which entangles you more and more in this material existence, and the other that brings you into the light, these are not the real. The real pious activity is this Sukriti, Agyata Sukriti, that devotional service, unknown, that will accumulate and come to the point where you can finally meet a pure devotee. For example, sometimes some workers, they come into the temple, just like here, the temple president here, Labanga Mataji, she's got an old mother. Her mother might be near her 90s now. So she needs a helper. She needs someone that comes here and take care of her. Actually, that person, that helper, lives with her mother. She's always here, So every single day she's eating prasadam. Every single day she's hearing the arti going on, the conch shell blowing, the kirtan, the class, she's smelling the incense, So how much piety she's getting. And she has no idea. She has completely no, she thinks she's just working, I'm in a place and these people are chanting and I'm doing my job. How much piety she's accumulating every single day, that she's eating only Krishna Prasadam, that she's hearing always Hare Krishna Mahamantra being sung. So this Agyata Sukriti, unknown devotional service, will accumulate, and she will become a devotee. There's no doubt about that. Of course, probably in the next life. So this is the real types of piety. So this is what Gautama Muni says, I have come here because of your past pious deeds. So he's speaking here of the pious deeds that bring you in contact with a devotee. So now all good fortune to you in the future. So the saintly person has given his blessings. So saying, Sri Gautama Muni immediately disappeared from his vision. We can see that he has mystic powers. So let's continue. King Harishchandra followed Gautama Muni's instructions concerning fasting on the sacred day of Ajay Ekādaśī. O Maharaj Yudhishthira, because the king fasted on that day, the reactions to his previous sins were completely destroyed at once. O lion among kings, just see the influence of this Ekādaśī fast. It immediately vanquishes whatever miseries one may be suffering as a result of past sinful activities. Just see, if we're suffering because of past sinful activities, let's say diseases or whatever it is, this Ekādaśī is very powerful to remove this. Thus, all Harichandra's miseries were relieved just by the power of this wonderful Ekādaśī. He was reunited with his wife and son, who had died but were now revived. In heaven, the demigods began showering down flowers upon Harishchandra, his queen, and their son. By the blessings of the Ekādaśī fast, he regained his kingdom without difficulty. Moreover, when King Harishchandra left this planet, his relatives and all his subjects too went with him to the spiritual world. O Pandava, whoever fasts on Ajay Ekādaśī is surely freed from all his sins and ascends to the spiritual world. And whosoever hears and studies the glories of this Ekādaśī achieves the merit gained by performing a horse sacrifice. Thus ends the Vrajavasi narration of the glories of Bhadrapada Krishna Ekādaśī or Ajay Ekādaśī or Annada Ekādaśī from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Haribol. So we can see how powerful these Ekādaśī are. Now, there are so many places in the scriptures that say whoever fasts on this Ekādaśī goes back to the spiritual world, or, the Damodar month is coming, whoever offers a lamp is liberated. There are so many of these things, of these statements, and we should not doubt. It's a fact. We should have faith in them. And by having full faith in those statements, then we get the full merit. If we doubt in those statements, it will not act as potent. And another thing is that we should not simply think that, oh, wow, I just fast on this Ekādaśī, job done, and I continue living as a sinful man. No, that is not like this. The whole point is that we have to become a servant of the Lord. So unless this mood is revived, how will we want to stay in the spiritual world? You see, the spiritual world means Krishna is served, Krishna is the center, and everybody is a servant. So why would you want to go back there? Even though you might have the opportunity, why would you want to go there if your mood, your desires are not proper? So a very nice story, and we hope that you had a nice Ekādaśī. We hope that you had a nice Jamashtami celebration and a Vyasa Puja celebration. And please excuse me for uploading this today. We've had many requests from devotees that wanted it to be uploaded a day before. Okay, we have a question from Rajashri Ghosh, so I believe we can maybe answer one question. So yes, you can ask. I believe this is a Mataji, Rajashri. Yes. So Rajashri Mataji, you can go ahead and ask your question. Maybe we can take one question and then finish. Normally we are trying to make this Ekādaśī stories in a short format because there's many long formats already. His Grace Srimad Tadvadit Das Brahmachari, he gives 2-3 hours. Okay, here Shridam Prabhu is asking, what do you usually eat on Ekādaśī in China? Okay, Rajashri Mataji, you type your question. I will answer Shridam Prabhu first. Normally in China, what they cook sweet potato noodles, you know. So they have these noodles which are made of sweet potato, and they make it very simple with some light vegetables in this way. This is what they take. Or sometimes they just eat some fried, you know, potatoes. You know, you grate the potatoes and they fry it with a bit of ghee. They take this, or some nuts in this way. So me, generally, I try to eat as less as, lesser than usual. I don't fast, but I eat, you know, nuts. I take some milk in this way. But the main thing that the Matajis do each Ekādaśī is this, is sweet potato noodles. Lavanya Nandal is asking, how can we see any of your classes? So I'm not yet recording any classes in English on YouTube. Maybe if you know my YouTube channel, you can subscribe. I have many vlogs. So those vlogs are about the preaching activities that are taking place here in China, ISKM China. This is Guangzhou City here. Maybe you can have a look. We have actually this big, okay, you see, you have a big view. Okay, so here Rajashri Mataji's question, how come the wife and the son got revived? So yes, these you know, amazing stories are there in the Puranas. Such thing happens, you know. What do we know? You know, you see that what do we know? We're only what, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old in this world, and we've been to a few cities, and we think that we might maybe understand the entire creation. No, there's much more than we can understand in this material world. You know, there's so many millions of planets, so many things are going on. We are hidden from all of this because of these rascal so-called scientists and leaders. So how come they got revived? I do not know, Mataji. The story was like this. In fact, in the beginning, it said that they had the king had gambled away his wife, and okay, just one moment. I'm seeing other questions. So that was gambled away. He gambled away the wife and son. So probably by having lost them, they died somehow. And by the power of this Ekādaśī, they got revived. How they got revived, I do not know, Mataji. But there are other stories like this, just like also Narada Muni in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a story that he revived a young son, a baby who died, you know, and then he revived him. So because reviving, what does reviving means? Actually, the body is always dead, you see. So actually, this body is always dead. It is moving simply because I'm within. I'm moving this body just like a puppet. You see, I'm inside. I'm the puppeteer, and this body is a puppet. So this body is actually dead. But when the soul leaves, then the true nature of the body appears. We are actually attracted to the soul. Just see, we love someone, we like it. We like someone, and then if the soul goes away, the body is dead, we do not even want to look at the body. Just like we always kiss, husband and wife, they kiss. Now, if the soul goes away, does anybody want to kiss the dead body? And nobody will want to do this. Therefore, the true attraction is to the spirit soul. Another nice story. Maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, there was Labanga Mataji's granddaughters. Okay, so one is 7 years old and the other is about 10 years old. And there was my son also. My son is 3 years old. So there was a little lizard. You know, we were washing our apartment near the temple, and I was washing, and somehow I think I hurt a small baby lizard, very small one. You know, so I did not know it was hurt. So I took it, and then I realized that his throat here was cut. You know, so I knew that he was about to pass away. So I told the kids, you make a small box, you know, I put some tissues there, we'll leave the lizard inside. And I told my son, keep chanting Hare Krishna. So he was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, because I knew the lizard would pass away. So the two granddaughters, they always wanted to touch the lizard. They wanted to play with it. Oh, let me play. And I was saying, no, he's suffering now, you know, let him alone. So they were very attracted to the lizard. They thought it was very cute, you know, a little lizard. Then it died. The soul left, and I saw, now it's finished, you know. So I took the lizard by the body of the lizard by the tail, and I said, you see, what is the difference now? And they were immediately, you know, the girls, they were, I don't want to see, you disgusting. And I say, why? I say, a minute ago you wanted to pet the lizard, you wanted to play with him, and now the same thing is there, the same body, and you're feeling disgusted. Why? That means the thing you were attracted to is not there anymore. What you liked has gone. And now what you don't like is remaining. Is it not? Therefore, we are attracted to spirit soul. We are attracted to the spark within the material body. This is what we want. Because we want Krishna. Now, that's it. Why are we attracted to the spirit soul? If we further the inquiry, because the spirit soul is part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, actually, we are attracted to Krishna. You see, you follow the steps. We are not attracted to the material body because we're attracted to the spirit soul. When the material body is there, dead, and there's no spirit soul, we feel disgusted. Okay. Then, why are we attracted to the spirit soul? Because spirit soul is part and parcel of Krishna. Okay. Okay, so let's go see. I'm sorry. This is the first time I'm trying to see how question. Okay. Then Bhavika say, how to do 16 rounds of chanting? Okay, the best way is to focus, to put Prabhupada chanting, you know, Prabhupada Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. There's a recording of Prabhupada. Best thing is you put Prabhupada chanting, you leave the phone on off or silence mode, and, you know, in the room far, far away, and you go in another room. Don't leave any computer or phone next to you. That will only be distraction. You sit down next to your altar in the living room or wherever your altar is. You put Prabhupada chanting, and you chant. And you tell yourself, I won't stop until I finish, let's say, 4 rounds, in this way. And you focus, Hare Krishna, and you chant with Srila Prabhupada. The whole point is to not be distracted. So if you wake up in the morning, you leave your phone in the room. You don't even look at it. Don't even look at the notification. What I do, when I go to bed at night, I put the phone on airplane mode. And not only is it good because it emits some waves, you know, it's not good for the brain and all of this. If you put on an airplane mode, it cuts off all the notification and everything. In the morning, you don't even touch at it. You go and you chant your rounds. And after you finish, then you come, okay, you can see the notification, whatever. So that helps in focusing, okay. Now, okay, Casey Clips, my question, why certain foodstuffs like grains and cereals are forbidden on Ekādaśī day? What is the science behind this? Okay, materially speaking, grains are harder to digest, okay? So this is why we have to minimize the bodily needs on Ekādaśī. If you boil down the bodily needs, you have more time for devotional service. That is the whole point, you know. And if you eat grains, it's harder to digest. Stronger digestive system means more sleep. We need more sleep in order to digest properly our food stuff. Therefore, when you eat too much protein, you must sleep more. If you eat a lot of protein at night, just see how you wake up the next morning. Your eyes are pucked and you feel all drowsy. So this is materially speaking. Spiritually speaking, the sins enter into the grains on Ekādaśī. There's a lot of, normally eating food without offering to Krishna is also sinful. But on the Ekādaśī day especially, the sins are there in grains. So if you eat grains, you eat tons and tons of sins. And the whole point is to become purified so that we can advance spiritually. Oh, I'm actually Pujari at 7 o'clock in 5 minutes. So maybe I will see if there's another. Okay, Shidam Prabhu, thank you. In Russia, potatoes and vegetables are usually on Ekādaśī, and buckwheat is also very popular. Yes, buckwheat we also do sometimes. Mohini Sharma, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, how can one donate some amount for your divine Krishna consciousness activities from India? Thank you very much, Mohini Mataji. You can go in some of our videos in the YouTube, on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Go in some of my videos. Normally, each video in the description, you have the PayPal link. You just press on that and you can give donation easily. It takes a few minutes only. Okay, then Prabhuji, then can a very badly destroyed body can also become alive again? Rajashri Ghosh. Yes, very badly destroyed body, it can, you know, this matter is simply an energy. Some people know how to transform that. For example, in the heavenly planets, you know, there are some rivers that if you bathe in them, your whole body becomes young again. So these things are there. It's simply you need to know the science. It's not magic. It's a science that is not discovered on our planet yet. Okay, Casey Clip saying thank you very much, Rajashri Ghosh, Prabhuji, my exams are coming, so I need to study. Can I eat Ekādaśī cooked food? Cooked food, what does that mean? Yes, you can cook food on Ekādaśī. The only thing is that there's no need of grains, and you don't need to eat grain for your exam anyway. You just eat a Ekādaśī food. It won't remove your strength. You know, you just drink milk, drink a lot of milk, eat yogurt, take some nuts and fruits, you'll be fine. Okay, so I have to leave you because I have to serve our Shri Shinitai Gaurasundar, so I will be ending with a darshan of their lordships. Jai Shri Shinitai Gaurasundar ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gau Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. So thank you very much everybody for having attended the live class. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shinitai Gaurasundar ki jai, Gau Premanande, Hari Hari Bo.